Welcome to the Profits in Pajamas podcast. I'm Danielle DeTeach, or Coach Danny D, and I help women to create luxury brands by creating processes and tightening their branding. This is where we talk about how to build your business in a way that allows you to work with ease and enjoy your life. My happy space is spending as much time as humanly possible in my pajamas, and I want to help others to find their happy space while still running profitable businesses. So get comfortable and let's dig in. Hello and welcome to episode 18 of the Profits in Pajamas podcast. I am your host, Coach Danny D. I am here. This podcast is all about that profits in pajamas lifestyle, work with ease, having the business of your dreams, having your peace of mind, and being able to be profitable at the same time. So I work to help small business owners to achieve those dreams. I help them to create their luxury brand, connect to their ideal client, and live that life of their dreams. For me, it's, in my PJs, because that's just my favorite thing to wear. But I also love to travel, to do a lot of different things, spend time with my family, all of those things that a lot of times we sacrifice when we're building, growing, sustaining a business. But I am an example of the fact that you can have a successful business and still balance it out with having a lifestyle that you enjoy. So today's topic is, are you seeking growth or validation? And the reason why I came with this topic, it may not, initially seem to fit the theme, but it really does, because a big part of, living that profits in pajamas lifestyle is having peace, having, being settled. One of the biggest things that I remember prior to having this, point of view and living this lifestyle was that inability to like shut things off. And now, sometimes when I'm in creative space, I still, struggle with that sometimes, because when you're in creative space, your mind is going a mile a minute. But sometimes the inability to shut off that business owner mind has a lot more to do with being unsettled or not at peace, as opposed to that you are in that creative space, right? And one of the reasons that I find that to be true is that we tend to seek validation over actual growth. And I'll give you some examples so you can understand where I'm coming from. So if you follow me on your workflow on social media, know like sometimes when I go on Facebook, I might do a live about something that I've seen in a Facebook group or something like that, and just my take on it from a business owner's perspective. Well, one thing that I notice a lot is that, people will post something in a group about an exchange either with a client or something that they, like or dislike about, business in general, or their business, or their, customers or potential customers. And they post it as if it's a discussion. But then when they don't get the response that they were expecting, if they don't get the amen chorus, if people start to say things that call into question their, initial point, then they start to get combative. And that's always really interesting to me, because I feel like if you were looking for a solution, or if you were looking for a growth moment, even if the responses that you received weren't what you were expecting, you would still be able to accept those responses, to process those responses, and maybe rethink what you initially thought. So maybe this person, taught you something, because there are many times that somebody posted something and I'm like, oh, you know what? I never thought about it from that perspective, and have changed my perspective, or have, enhanced something for me, or opened a door altogether that I didn't even think was a thing. Like, they put that idea out there and I'm like, wait, how can I adapt this to my business? Or now that I know this new thing, how can I change my business for the better? But when I see people get combative with people who are bringing forth solutions, then I get a little hesitant, because at that point, are you looking for growth or are you looking for validation? And if you're just looking for validation, it's that's not helpful for you in the long run of your business. So if people are just telling you, yay, that's great, every time you say something, or if are, there's nothing wrong with venting. We all have the venting moments. We all have the moments where, those of you that are in a balloon community, in certain groups, there's the, what the F Wednesday. We all have those moments where it's like, what is happening right now? Like, how did this get here? Right? We all have those moments. And I'm not saying that you shouldn't. I'm not saying that you shouldn't vent about those moments. But when people bring forth solutions, or people bring forth a different perspective, and you are not receptive to that, and especially when they're not being combative with you, because sometimes people can be nasty, and it's hard to hear value in their advice if they're being nasty. But I've seen people, just give straight advice, loving advice, and get their heads chopped off, because that's not what that person wanted to hear. They wanted to be validated. Validation is not going to it's not going to help you grow, and it's not going to help you find peace either, because whatever that thing was that caused the initial, frustration, that caused you to post the initial post, that caused you to be upset with the client, is not changing purely because, somebody co-signed on your wrongness. It just doesn't help you. It really doesn't help you. It's not going to help you find peace. It's not going to help you be in a position as a business owner where you have a peaceful business, a peaceful life, because if you are being upheld in your wrongness, you're just going to continue that cycle. You're going to have, unnecessary conflict. Conflict happens sometimes, but it doesn't make sense to, create conflict where there is none. I've heard people get upset about things that are just a standard part of doing business. Like, you can't get upset that customers have questions. They don't do what you do all day. So they're going to have questions, or that they don't understand the industry in the way that you do. They don't do what you do. They have no clue. If you don't explain it to them, they will not know. It's just things like that that are going to make your business much more stressful. If you're looking to find peace in your business, one, be open to learning from others. There's always an opportunity to learn. If you are open minded and you are willing to open yourself up to other ideas and other possibilities, that's like, really, to me, should be the core of all things, because there's so much to learn from the world. Everyone has a different perspective. You can ask 20 people how to do this one thing, and they may all do it a different way. And none of them is the right way. None of them is the wrong way. But, if you sit and listen, now you know 20 ways to do that one thing. And so if, the first way doesn't work for whatever reason, you still have 19 to go. It strengthens you as a business owner. And a lot of times people say, oh, I don't have help, I don't have support, I don't have X, Y, and Z as a business owner when it comes to building that networking community. But maybe you're cutting your network off at the pass. And maybe, or people say, I'm looking for a mentor in this field. Maybe your mentor read your post and scrolled right on past, because I'm gonna be honest with you, that's what I typically do, because what I'm not gonna do is go back and forth with somebody, when I'm legitimately trying to offer advice or help to something that you asked for advice or help for. But if I see that you're going back and forth with the people in the comments, I'm just going to keep scrolling. I'm not going to waste my time. So, are you blocking your next level by not being willing to grow and to hear different perspectives? So, I just want you to think about that and think about, are you open? Have you been open to other people, other perspectives? And I want you to really try to open your mind to listening, hearing, learning, because it just makes you so much better, so much smarter, so much stronger. And it also can help you build relationships, because I know that I have built relationships like that where I've asked a question I didn't know the answer to. I asked somebody who I thought knew the answer, and they shared with me what their answer was, what their perspective was. And for me, it opened a world of possibilities, because I'm like, okay, well, if you're doing this like this, then I know it can be done. Now, let me figure out my path, and how does this information fit into my path. So go out there, learn, open up yourself to the idea of learning. So that's what I have for you guys today. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. Um, Definitely, if you haven't listened to past episodes, I want you to go back and do some binge listening. Also, next week's episode, I'm really excited about. We're going to have a guest on next week. So I want you to stay tuned for that as well. So, as always, I am Coach Danny D. I'm the owner of Workflow, where I help small businesses play big. You can follow me on Instagram or on Facebook at Your Workflow, or you can go to my website, coachdannyd.com. All right, guys, see you next week. Thank you for listening to the Profits in Pajamas podcast. I hope you got some great tips to start working with ease. Want to stay connected? Follow me at Your Workflow on Instagram. For more information about building your luxury brand, register for my upcoming luxury brand workshop at coachdannyd.com.